Hey everybody, happy Monday. It is IT Expo week and we are actually all on the road. So hopefully this live stream doesn't go completely sideways, but let's give it a try. Super excited about the guest today at Rumble Cloud, a company that I'm intrigued by. Rich Karani, let's start with you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Evan. How are you doing?
I'm in an airport, so that's about how I'm doing, but I will be in Fort Lauderdale in about 3 hours. So I'm super excited for that. Are you getting any sleep these days? IT Expo is probably your biggest event of the year. You and the team must be pretty tired.
Yeah, well, show week you run on adrenaline, so there's plenty of time to sleep on Friday when the show's over. But yeah, we're running on adrenaline and caffeine and just fun, excitement. All the networking. It's going to be amazing.
It is, and I'm so excited. And I'm excited by our guest, Michael from Rumble Cloud. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for having me over. So super excited, as Rich said, flying out tonight. So looking forward to the MSP and IT Expo in Fort Lauderdale.
And you are in Boston, as am I. So we're headed out just before the big nor'easter
Yes.
that's coming our way. We're very happy for that to be in sunny Fort Lauderdale. Michael, maybe introduce yourself and who is Rumble Cloud?
Sure. So I'm VP of Cloud Sales and Enterprise Account Management. So it's actually Rumble.com, as maybe a lot of people know, is the media streaming platform. Rumble Cloud was built on the on the back of Rumble.com, and the leadership team made a decision this year that look because of the large feedback that we were getting from customers and other people about pretty much tagging along on the same technology that Rumble.com has been scaling up over the last couple of years. Uh, we got a lot of positive feedback and kind of demand and questions. So we decided, hey, why don't we just onboard more customers? So we've been running in beta phase since September, and we are launching. We're pretty much going live in March. That's our big milestone. Yeah, it's a new cloud platform or infrastructure as a service, and we are getting into this landscape that has been existing for the last couple of decades, as you know. But we are pretty excited about it as we are following with the same mission as Rumble.com about free speech, free internet. And we feel that this landscape has somewhat been monopolized over the last 2 decades by the big three hyperscalers. And so we are coming in with open source infrastructure, OpenStack, and very transparent and predictive pricing, and yeah, high performance hardware. We have the best hardware that's out there right now, the Gen 4 EPIC CPUs, the H100 Tensor Core GPUs. Very transparent pricing, which is something that we've been getting as from customers feedback that the three hyperscalers have diverse from that area, and it's very complicated. Probably yourself know, just going and trying to get pricing from AWS is it's like filling up a citizenship application, which I say because I used to be an immigrant and I naturalized, but I went through the whole process. So when I go to price of something at AWS, it's like, what the heck am I doing? All these drop down menus. I get a quote at the end, and then at the end of the year, you get an invoice which is very different from your quote. So we are going ahead, getting away from that, very transparent, predicting pricing, no egress charges. And another thing that makes Rumble Cloud very different is that we actually give dedicated hardware. So we map one CPU for one vCPU. So every customer, when they get either a public or a private cloud offering, they would get a dedicated hardware. So which means that they would have a consistent performance as long as they're with us. So that's kind
Wow,
of
there's a lot to unpack there. It's fantastic to see a new entrant in the infrastructure space. Particularly, we need a bit of disruption, shaking things up. And Rich, Rumble is exhibiting and presenting at the MSP Expo. What's the MSP Expo exactly, and what can folks expect this week in Fort Lauderdale?
So MSP Expo is an event that is focused on IT service providers called, managed service providers. That's kind of the insider acronym for companies that manage the networks, the cybersecurity, the technology for another company. And it's part of an event called the IT Expo Tech Super Show, or just the Tech Super Show. And that event, the Tech Super Show, or IT Expo Tech Super Show, has been around since 1999. This is the 25th year. And one of the ways that we've kept this show fresh and growing throughout this time, this will be our largest show, the biggest exhibit hall, the most people, is that we've added important areas to the event, co-located events that we believe people need to know about to take their businesses to the next level. And we found that if we focus enough content in an area, we can have a very strong event that can be co-located with other events, allowing a company to have one single place that they go to, one trade show they go to early in the budget cycle in the year, where they can make their purchasing decisions, or at least help narrow down their purchasing decisions for the entire 12-month period. So you come in February to Fort Lauderdale, people literally come from Japan, South America, Caribbean, Canada, right? You name it, Alaska, people come to this event, right? It's like 70 countries or more. And they make their purchasing decisions, or they narrow down their short list, and they try to find out how they can become more productive, more efficient. If you're a managed service provider, also more profitable. How do you maximize your the value of your MSP if you want to sell your company? A lot of MSPs are transacting M&A, or if you want to buy other MSPs, learn tips, tricks, network with colleagues, right? One thing about events that are really different than much of what we'll do online is that there's a discovery element, meaning that you'll be at a lunch, you'll be sitting next to someone, a like-minded person who's in a similar industry. Maybe you're an MSP from South Florida, and you'll run into an MSP from South America, or from Canada, or anywhere in the country, and you'll start talking about common interests, common problems, and you'll learn from one another in a casual setting, in a relaxed setting. There are a bunch of networking events. For example, Tuesday night, there's an MSP networking event. And there's really networking events every night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at this event. And so it's a great place to improve your business, become more productive, more efficient, and while having a good time, right? You're in South Florida in February, and it's a business expense. And, not that you're going to spend a lot of time outside, but you could spend the weekend afterwards here. You can, nighttime, morning time, you're going to get some air, which you'll enjoy, as opposed to up in Boston where you guys are, or work, right?
Yeah, we'll be digging out, or at least our friends and family will. But Michael, what's your goal for MSP Expo? Are you signing up customers, partners, developers now? What are you looking to achieve?
So as Rich said, so for the MSP Expo, we are really throwing up a very wide net, and our go-to-market strategy is about 99% of the go-to-market exposure we are expecting to get it from the MSPs and the resellers. So in an economy where, or let me say, in a time where we are facing a lot of these economic headwinds, we feel that Rumble Cloud can be that right flavor that MSPs and resellers can then utilize to their own benefit to grow their revenues, increase their profitability, and just proactively approach their customers who are actually trying to save costs, and say like, hey, look, there is a new player in this ecosystem, and they can provide you, the high performance, quality of service, and then help you save money, right?
Yeah, that's a great message. And Rumble, of course, is known for its video streaming content. Your powerhouse in that space. Is that your sweet spot in the cloud? Is video and content? What else do you offer?
Yeah, so that's one kind of example, which is because we really build a cloud infrastructure to help or to support the high scalability and growth of Rumble.com, and it's an excellent example because in one way they were our first customer, right? Rumble.com, and we went from 2 million active users per month to close to 60 million active users per month just the last quarter. So that's a scalability in the last 2 years that we are very proud of, right? And we are expecting some similar kind of growth going forward as we are adding a lot of content. And that's why we got a lot of feedback from people that they just had questions. They're like, hey, where are you running? What are you running Rumble.com on? and that was kind of, and we built the infrastructure with such a large capacity that we started actually onboarding some other customers. So like locals.com, we fully migrated them from AWS to Rumble Cloud. Over the last few months, just the performance measurements they're like super happy. And then the cost savings, of course, are just without question something that they were looking forward to. So it's
fantastic. Describe, we're tech geeks here, IT geeks. Describe your network a bit. You mentioned open source, OpenStack. Maybe describe your network a little bit. Your data centers, where are they, and any peek behind the curtain you could share?
Yeah, so there is some competitive here advantages. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I can tell you we have 14 points of presence across the US. And in the next couple of few weeks, as we are going live, we're going to launch another 2 data centers. So we're going to have 3 data centers that are covering the West region, Central US, and then the East Coast. So we have very low, latencies, high performance. One thing which is interesting is, and this is kind of aligned with the whole Rumble.com mission, was that when Chris decided, before Rumble.com went live in 2022, September, when he decided to build its own infrastructure, the idea was that he wanted to have a redundancy on every single level, right? From backhaul to vendors to power, cooling. So we built our data centers in a way that nobody can block us, prevent us from actually operating. And this is something that happened over the last 7-8 years, where a lot of people got very polarized in the US for many other reasons, some of it political. And as you know, and the idea was, again, is that we are not here to judge on the content. Of course, people have to stay within the boundaries of the law, but we are there to provide a service. And as AWS and Google, and they were cutting off and blocking streamers or customers because of something they said or something they thought of, we are not there to do that. So we are really there as a neutral player and neutral platform to support anybody that needs a high performance infrastructure. But then, so the infrastructure was built on the latest hardware, as I said before that. We offer the virtual machines, the Kubernetes, object storage, block storage, all the good stuff. So as we go live, infrastructure is our offering. And as the time goes on, eventually we'll build something else as well, some other features and services. But we're going to pretty much lean on our partners, either MSPs or resellers, to fill in the gap with the other as-a-service offerings, whether it be a database or security or anything else. Our infrastructure out of the box comes with DDoS as a service, and we actually have our own kind of security layer, and then we have 2 other vendors that provide additional security. So we even have redundancy on the DDoS security as well. So that's something we are proud of. At Rumble.com, as you probably know, we were exclusive streamers of the Republican debate. And I can tell you there were some attempts to take us down during the debate. And I can proudly say that we got 0 downtime. So our guys did their job and provided, a very high quality streaming. So, but you did ask a question like, who is our customer, right? So yes, we have people that either stream or have a large data content. We don't really have anything specific, which is very interesting. It comes up to a use case of the customer. They either want something that's very high performance compute platform and they want to do simulations. We can offer that. Or some people just want to get a redundancy and set up some kind of multi-cloud setup and not depend only on one cloud provider. We've approached a couple of customers over the last couple of months that they just wanted to literally just save money, right? And we are looking at all of their workloads and see like, okay, well, what are your mission critical workloads? What are not so mission critical? Where you actually what are the high cost kind of workloads? And let's try to set up some kind of project plan in which, or a timeline in which we migrate those areas that are really hitting your OPEX, your CAPEX, and then we can help you kind of shave off some of those costs. So that's also an approach. And then we spoke with a couple of other larger customers where they've gotten to a point where, they're running on AWS, and there was one more on Azure, and they just cannot lower the costs, right? They're fully dependent on the services and applications that these providers offer. So the way I see it is they can also use us as a disruptor in the market. Once you introduce another player with a very low cost, sometimes it gives you a leverage to negotiate, right? So there's so many ways in which people can utilize our infrastructure. You just, it's pretty exciting.
And if I could just interject, what's really interesting to me is that we know in the past that Walmart was not happy with the fact that they were doing a lot of their work on AWS, being that they are competing in another business. And so they moved their cloud or their cloud usage. As we enter a new phase of AI and a time where numerous companies are going to be coming out with AI solutions, the different boxes that companies are in that are non-competitive start to fade, and the overlap of competition between the cloud vendors and what they're producing and what you're producing as an organization is we're going to just basically be seeing much more competition. And so what that means is that you may not want to use one of the traditional hyperscalers as your cloud platform, because you're effectively propping up your competition or paying your competition, which is not necessary. It's not a good thing. So companies don't want to do that. So with an alternate player that has the backbone that's resilient enough to run your business on while simultaneously not having that head-to-head competitive layer, you're kind of you now have an opportunity that you probably never had before, right? I mean, most of these 3 cloud vendors, they have the majority of the market, and so now we've got a player that kind of levels that out and allows you to make choices you didn't have.
It's a very good point, and this is another kind of industry vertical that is really becoming more careful and aware, and it's kind of this businesses that actually have a very large marketplace, online marketplace, and it's not just about not being on these 3 hyperscalers, but as you know, Google and Amazon has the largest marketplace there. And they have certain overlap now into their business kind of strategies and ambitions, right? And some customers that have approached us, they're literally afraid that as AI gets introduced into their platform, a lot of their data, if it's not already, is going to be mined to a very large extent. And not just their data, but their customer data. And this is also another kind of a point that I want to highlight about Rumble Cloud, is that our core business is not to mine customers' data or to monetize on it. We really want to kind of secure it and want to give them a peace of mind. We have nothing to do with selling customer data, as Google is pretty much monetizing on ads and everything like that. So it's very interesting that actually people are approaching it just for those simple purposes of, but very important is about, look, we want to just have a peace of mind and make sure that our place is in a secure data that is not just being resold or mined or monetized.
And we should probably talk about this go-to-market strategy, right? You're going through resellers, you're going through MSPs in the channel. So basically the idea there is they're your sales force, and there's enough savings for them to make some money while simultaneously giving the customer some savings as well. So it's kind of a win-win, right? So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's so this was discussed to an extensive level within Rumble, and the deal was, okay, well, how do we go to a market and how do we scale up and grow very fast, right? So one is to provide a very substantial either cost or competitive offer or high quality offer, but then the other thing is like, how do you get the biggest exposure, right? And you can go with direct sales, but you're going to have to hire thousands of people, and it's going to take time, right, to get the right competence and the right people. And then we started looking at the indirect channels, and this is where we really kind of felt that this is like the right fit. as a lot of these channels have been reselling already AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, and giving them this other flavor that's a lot more cost competitive and very high performance. It's kind of an opportunity for them to go proactively approach their customers, like I said, and just offer them something that's very that can help them save money. And so, yeah, so MSPs and resellers are really our go-to-market partners, and so we're looking forward to meet up with them, as many as possible. We're also looking at the value-add resellers, distributors. So we've already initiated some talks, and they're very excited actually about what we are offering. So in the background while this expo is running, we're already kind of trying to sign some contracts, and we are having some ongoing discussions. So that's going to come up, and we're going to announce those within the right time.
Fantastic.
Exciting.
Yeah, I would agree, Rich. And, it's one of the great things that I love about IT Expo is discovery. I mean, you just discover so many new brands and vendors and partners and customers. I mean, talk about that, because, I didn't know of Rumble Cloud until a moment ago. And IT Expo presents such a great meeting of the minds for, new entrants, new players in this space.
I would argue that, Michael's company and what they're doing is an amazing opportunity for MSPs that are either watching this video podcast or they're at the show where they can, strike up a relationship, because, getting in the ground floor of things is so important in terms of leapfrogging your competition and becoming well-versed in how Rumble operates and being able to resell it. At the early stage gives you that competitive advantage that you can have, a lifetime of a profitable company could be just from finding something like that. And it's just a single example. Like we're honored that Rumble Cloud will be launching at MSP Expo, and we'll be there, and we'll get to talk to people and, talk about, the benefits that they give to not only MSPs, but the MSP customers. But there's hundreds of other companies that will be at the show. And it's really, again, the time of year, this February timeframe, is when there are a lot of product launches early in the year. And it's a time when companies are typically looking for new opportunities, new vendors. They're swapping out vendors, right? In Q1, a lot of that happens. And so just the timing of the event, we believe we've assembled the really cream of the crop, not only keynote speakers, there's hundreds of amazing speakers, but also the exhibitors, the launches. It is going to just be this single event that you can come to if you are an enterprise, if you're government, communication service provider, a reseller of any kind, meaning channel, MSP. Even when the show was started, we were targeting VARs, value-added resellers, which have kind of evolved, and most of them have evolved to MSPs. But there are still some companies that consider themselves just value-added resellers. They don't necessarily have a monthly recurring model, although that's really going away. But there are some. So it's really whatever that area you fit in, and what I just described, which is pretty much the majority of tech buyers, global tech buyers. There's a place for you at this show. There's a co-located event for you, whether it's generative AI or customer experience or the future of work or IoT or 5G. Come to IT Expo February 13th through 15th in Fort Lauderdale. Make all of your purchasing decisions, or at least your short list. Find the vendors that are there that are really leading the market and prosper, basically, right? Reduce costs, increase profitability, and productivity. So this is the one place you need to be in the year, every year. So we'll see you this week.
See you this week, Michael. Any last thoughts before we wrap up and get on airplanes and cars and
No,
trains?
looking forward to this. I just want to say, look, I'll be there at booth 742 with my team. I'll have the VP of Corporate Development, my sales engineer lead, and head of marketing, Win. So we're going to be there. We have a big QR code and the banner, so you guys can scan it, schedule 30 minutes one-on-one with either of us. So we are there just to be available. Any details you want, we can discuss. Looking forward to meeting everyone there.
All right. Well, me too, Michael. Look forward to meeting you. Rich is there already with the team setting up, and we'll see you all shortly. Have a great day, everyone. Happy Monday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.